Yeah, hi, this is Ashwin, and we are sitting on a series which talks about ASP.NET MVC related interview questions. And now we're going to discuss about MVC application lifecycle. So you can probably pause the video and then probably try to find the answer. And in the next slide, we're going to basically explain the same thing. All right, so if you look at any web application, it has got two functions to do. One is basically get the request from the user and give a response back to the user based on the request. So the MVC also does the same thing, which means it has to basically create two objects. One is a request object, another one is a response object. So let's get into the request object. What actually does is, first thing it does is it fills the route, which means it basically makes sure that the request that you're getting is mapped to a routing table, and which basically gives an understanding that which controller and which action needs to be invoked. Now, who is getting all these details? Because these are all mentioned in the global.asax file. Now, the next thing is it's going to fetch the appropriate route. Depending on the URL that is sent, the URL routing module is going to search the route table, and it's going to create a route data object. And this data object, route data object, is going to have the details of the controller and the actions that it needs to invoke. The next thing it does is it creates a request context. These particular route data that you just made is what is used to create this request context object. Now, once the request context object is created, it is sent to the MVC handler so that it can create a controller class instance. What do you mean by that is, if you have 100 sessions coming to the system, it's going to maintain the instance of the controller differently. The reason is each instance might have different variables to store based on the user. It might be dynamic. And what it does is, next thing is it is going to create the response object, because now it knows which controller to deal with, which action to invoke. It's basically going to create the response object, and that's going to send the correct results back to the view. I think this is going to give you a lot of understanding on how an MVC works, and this is exactly the interviewer is trying to understand from you. All right, so we'll see you in the next question.